King Charles is going to be the very first British head of state ever to visit Auschwitz today. It's a very important day. It marks the 80th anniversary of its liberation by the Allies as part of the Holocaust Memorial Day. 6
million Jewish people, as well as millions of others, were murdered during the Holocaust through Nazi persecution.
Well, in just a moment, we'll be privileged to speak to Rachel Levy here, a survivor of the Auschwitz death camp.
Well, Auschwitz survivor Rachel joins us now, alongside Olivia Marks-Waldman, the Chief Executive of the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. Very good morning to you both. I know this is a hugely significant moment for you, Rachel.
Thank you.
But what else is hugely significant is the fact you managed to escape. You were in the queue, weren't you, for the gas chamber with a friend?
Yeah.
But you ran away. Tell us what happened.
Well, we were standing in the queue near the kitchens, and for some reason or other, we weren't going. We were looking at the gate, of course, the famous gate where once you got through there, you didn't come back. And then some kind of commotion started. And my friend was very brave, Madeley. Suddenly she got hold of my hand. She said, "Come, let's go." I said, "Where are we going?" "We're getting out of here." And we were standing, and with that moment, they came out of the kitchens with a soup urn, great big urn, with soup to take to the people in the camp. And we got hold of it. We went in and held the soup being carried out. And then we got back to our block. When we got back to the block, nobody would believe us. Well, what had happened? We didn't believe it ourselves. It was very, very, without thinking, just on the spur of the moment.
Pure instinct.
Yeah.
You know, hearing you describe that happening all those years ago, almost 80 years ago, it's interesting because memories fade with age, don't they? They become blurred. How vivid are your memories specifically of Auschwitz?
It's very vivid. I remember everything. I don't remember what happened day to day, but there was nothing happening, really, because by the time we got to the camps, it was not as strict with us. We didn't go out to work. We just vegetated in the block and talked to people if we could, and mostly we talked about food.
And what was the reason for deciding on that day that you actually escaped from the gas chamber to send you to the gas chamber? What had changed?
Well, he did, Mengele, Dr. Joseph Mengele, did his sudden exams. He would examine people, and he'd swing the doors open, and there he was, and you had to stand in line, and he looked you up and down, naked. He looked at the blemishes, and if you looked weak, and he picked out the people that he thought of no use in the camp anymore. Not that we were any use at the time. And we chose us, my friend and me. And you go this way, and the others went back to the block, and we were to go out. We knew by then, of course, what was happening. We had learned that this is what happens once he chooses you to go to the left and go stand by outside the block. We were marched away from there.
When you first arrived at Auschwitz, your mother was separated from you, your siblings.
When we first arrived from Auschwitz, from the block, the trains that arrived to Auschwitz, doors flying open and they threw us out. You must get out of the carriages. And the Gestapo was standing there, waiting to count us. That's my vision there. I saw my mother going pushed to the right, and my brother, my older brother, to the left. And we watched her walk away with a baby in her arms and my two little sisters. That's all I knew then. And I didn't know what was happening, actually. Then we were rushed through in a queue again into somewhere, which was the block in the camp. And my brother went with the men, and I had to go with the women. When we got to the block, that was it. That's where we were.
And your mother?
And my mother and my rest of my family. I had learned that very soon after I got there from other people. They went straight to the gas chambers.
And they were, of course, amongst these 6 million.
Yes.
European Jews, men, women,
Yeah.
children, the young and the old, who were either asphyxiated or strangled or shot or starved to death. And you saw it happen. You were there. So can I ask you this? How does it make you feel when you hear one of these so-called Holocaust deniers spouting their nonsense, saying that it's all a made-up story, it's just Jewish propaganda, it didn't happen?
Unfortunately, yes. They're still existing, and they still don't believe it, and it's unfortunate. There's nothing we can do about it. We try. We've done as much as we can and doing, talking to people, talking to young people, children in schools, hoping they will remember what I talk about.
But it must make you very angry.
I don't get angry anymore, not really. I don't get angry. Feeling sick about it, yes. Having nightmares again, yes. But anger's wasted.
Rachel, you couldn't talk about this at all for nearly 50 years.
Yes.
For half a century, you just couldn't speak about it. What changed?
Well, it was rather difficult. I was taken by the great big Maxwell, Robert Maxwell, who gave an invitation out for survivors to come to London, first in Oxford, then London. And we were all gathered in a big place in North London. And after having a nice lunch, everything, and the speakers, we were divided into groups of 10 to go and sit and tell our story with counsellors there. There was a Red Cross in the field there. There was a first aid, I should say, first aid, not Red Cross. And we were to speak about our life. Now, my husband was sitting on my left. The rest was just a group of 10. Started over there telling stories and gradually came to and I thought, well, I'm forced now, I have to talk. Everybody else has. I didn't get further than my name because I started shaking and feeling ill and I couldn't say any more. And I said to my husband, take me out, take me out. My husband didn't know anything about it either. I never spoke to him. My children growing up to teenagers, they still didn't know. They took me out and I was ill for months on end. I had a hammering in my head and nobody could do anything about it. The counsellors kept calling me by phone, let us come to you and counsel you, talk to us, and I couldn't. Everybody wanted to help me. But then I had a very good friend, Dr. Pergood Morris, and a couple, and we were good friends. And he said, come and talk to me on my own. Perhaps that'll help. And I agreed, because I was suffering with this hammering for weeks and weeks. And he listened to me, and he never said a word, just listened to the whole story. And I sat and talked and told him everything, just to him. And it worried me what I was doing to him. And that always worried me, what effect it will have on my husband, my children and family. And he said, all I want to do is put my arms around you and hug you.
I think that's what viewers will want to do as well.
And that's what happened.
Olivia, I mean, listening to Rachel and her story, she's, I hope you don't mind me saying you're 94 now, Rachel. Yes. You know, remarkable story of survival, luck, you know, suppression of her experiences for 50 years and now being able to talk openly. I know you've been honoured with the British Empire Medal for your contribution to Holocaust education. How important, Olivia, is it today, the 80th anniversary?
It's so important.
Of the liberation of Auschwitz, that the King is going, the first British monarch ever to do so? Seems remarkable.
His Majesty the King is patron of the Holocaust Memorial Day Trust. He's had such a long-term commitment to Holocaust Memorial and commemoration and really understands why necessary it is for all of us to be learning from the past. It's said that whoever hears a witness becomes a witness. And we all are today, as we've heard from Rachel, and we have that responsibility with what we're listening to your history, Rachel. And particularly on Holocaust Memorial Day, we all have an opportunity to listen to survivors like Rachel, take our lead from His Majesty and mark Holocaust Memorial Day and share what we've heard. And we really hope that all the viewers watching today are going to take that opportunity.
Well, I know that the events are underway already. And the ceremonies will take place later this afternoon. Thank you both. Olivia, thank you very much indeed. And Rachel, we really appreciate your testimony this morning. It's so important to keep sharing it. Thank you very much indeed.